I bet you've never seen these two watches in the same place at the same time. Let's check these out. I have here the brand new Black Bay Chrono Flamingo Blue, and next to it is its sort of rosy hued older sibling, the pink. Now these two watches are hard to find. In fact, when I picked up this blue from Tudor earlier this morning, it was the first time the people in the Tudor HQ in London had seen this watch in the metal. They'd never held it before. That's how new these are, and that's how hard to get they are. But let's see, how do these things look on the wrist? Both of these watches come on Tudor's super smooth 5-length bracelet, and they have the micro adjustment T-fit clasp at the bottom of each, so you can ensure it fits snugly any weather, any time of day. And as you can see, it's kind of a bit of a showstopper. And as I think you can see, the colours are kind of popping against the black jumper. Really helps them stand out a bit more. I think you'll agree. Look, these watches do wear well, and the new blue on this Flamingo Blue dial, it's essentially a Tiffany colour. Once you see it in daylight, there's a little bit more green. It's a bit paler than a true Tiffany blue. So you can't really sort of nail it down and call it Tiffany, but I think it's as close as you're going to get to a Tiffany from Tudor. And we know how hypey that colour is right now. You just have to go back to the Nautilus Tiffany 5711, and every watch that came after that, whether it's the PRX or a Citizen or sort of every other sort of brand has this colour dial, and now Tudor does too. I think we need to start talking about how Tudor are releasing these watches. They're using this brand new tactic, which I think is fair to say has been ripped straight out of Omega's playbook. We get this watch teased to us on ambassadors' wrists first and foremost. It appears in press imagery, it appears in sort of paparazzi shots, and the watch spotters on Instagram, they find it, they spread it through social media, and we're all left guessing as to what exactly it is. When we first saw this incredibly rich, vivid blue on a Black Bay chronograph, I think we kind of all knew exactly what it was. They've created this new collection with these two watches now called the Daring Collection. And you go onto the Tudor website and you can see these watches exist in a separate part of the website compared to the rest of the collection for Tudor. But why is that? Well, you can't buy these watches from the Tudor website. You can only get these by going into the boutique. In fact, I messaged a friend of mine that works for Tudor and I was like, what's the best way to buy one of these? And he just said, go to a boutique. And that was it, not a word more. So they're making them hard to get. They're calling them a limited edition on the website, but they're not limiting them in number. They're not being numbered limited editions at all. They're just going to make a few, give them to their boutiques, specifically the boutiques, not the retailers. And then it's just luck of the draw, first come, first serve. Or if you're a favorite customer of the boutique, maybe you get one. Who knows? If you have one, let me know in the comments below. If you know someone that has one, tell them to comment below as well. But are these watches being used as a distraction tactic? If you throw your minds back to 2023, when the catalogue for Only Watch, the charity auction, was released, you'll remember there was a Black Bay Chrono in that catalogue, solid gold on the bracelet as well, but it was a big block design. So it had the subdials at 12, 9 and 6 with the date at 3, which is a design we haven't seen from Tudor in a very, very long time. And inside that watch was a fully in-house developed top to bottom chronograph caliber from Tudor, which these watches, as amazing as they are, do not have that. These have a chronograph caliber based on Breitling's B01, which is an amazing, a great caliber. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it, but the watch brands themselves place a lot of emphasis on being fully in-house, and Tudor have one of the best manufacturing facilities in the world. So they've teased this movement, this big block movement, which got a lot of Tudor fans excited. That watch was actually removed from the Only Watch catalogue before the auction happened earlier last year. But then we haven't heard a single thing about that movement since. Now look, we are right before Watches and Wonders. It's sort of only a couple of months away. Are we going to see the big block return in Watches and Wonders 2025? Are these new sort of brightly coloured, endorphin inducing watches just a bit of a distraction to tide us over until we get the return of the big block? That's what I want to know. And is that big block movement going to allow us to have a thinner chronograph? Because that is, I think, a fair criticism passed over these watches from time to time, is that when you compare them to their big brother, which is the Daytona, it's a little bit thicker. Automatic movement, just like the Daytona is. But if you've got the money for a Daytona, would you choose this over it? I don't know. I think I'd still go for that Daytona, but then these bright colored dials, you're not going to get those in a Daytona anytime soon, unless Rolex decide to do with the Daytona line what it did with the Oyster Perpetual line a couple of years ago. Now, shortly after the release of the Flamingo Blue, we asked you guys, we put it to you on Instagram, which one you preferred, whether it was the Flamingo Blue or the original pink. Now, we're assuming most of you, because a lot of you responded, we have over 1,000 responses on this poll. Most of you are going off of press imagery, I'm assuming, or perhaps sort of in the metal shots that have been taken by the watch media. But having held them is quite a rare sight, and definitely holding the blue is very rare and very hard to do. But it was interesting to see the results from that poll, because there was 60% of you voted for the Flamingo Blue, while only 40 were going for the pink. Now, for me, having held the watches side by side, I feel like this pink might be the one for me. It feels like it's slightly more subdued in its tone, which would make it easier to wear for my wardrobe. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having a pink dial. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments, which one would you prefer? Are you going for the Flamingo Blue and its sort of bright, bold, brash colours? Or are you sticking with the pink with its Inter Miami connections and it's sort of slightly more subdued in the metal colouring? Let me know down in the comments now, and I'll see you next time.